Hey everyone, and welcome back to Senior Care Insights. I'm excited for today's deep dive because we are taking inspiration from a really remarkable individual, Dr. Shigeaki Hinohara.
Definitely a fascinating guy.
Yeah, lived to be 105 and practiced medicine until he was 100. 100.
It's incredible, isn't it? A century of experience.
Right. It makes you wonder what were his secrets to a long and healthy and obviously very active life.
Exactly. And, when you look at areas like Okinawa, Japan, where people are known for their longevity,
Hmm.
a lot of them living active lives well past 100, you start to see some pretty clear patterns emerge.
So what is it?
Well, it's not so much about some fancy new medical breakthrough or anything. It's really about consistent, simple, everyday habits that make a big difference over time.
So in this deep dive, we're going to explore some of those key principles that we can learn from Dr. Hinohara's life and from the Okinawan lifestyle. We'll be looking at practical things you can actually do in your daily life around food and eating habits. And how those seemingly small choices can have a surprisingly big impact on your energy, how your digestion works, even just your overall well-being as you get older.
I think that's what people are really looking for. These simple little things we can do day to day that can really make a difference.
Exactly. It's about setting ourselves up for a healthier, happier life as we age.
Totally agree.
Yeah.
Building that solid foundation that can carry us through the years ahead.
All right, so let's jump right in with one of the most interesting concepts I came across, hara hachibu. Have you heard of this?
Yeah, I have. It's a practice common in Okinawa where you eat until you feel about 80% full. It's different from what we are usually told. Clean your plate, eat everything, don't waste food.
Yeah, totally different. It feels almost counterintuitive,
Yeah, it really does.
especially in a culture where, we're often encouraged to eat everything on our plates. But Dr. Hinohara himself was a big believer in this mindful eating approach.
Yeah, and from what I read, he really practiced what he preached. He would eat slowly, really savor each bite, and he always left the table feeling just a little bit hungry, not completely stuffed.
So it's not about depriving yourself or feeling like you can't enjoy food.
Exactly. It's really about learning to listen to your body's signals and understanding when you've had enough.
It seems like there are some real benefits to this way of eating beyond just, not feeling uncomfortably full after meals. What are some of the long-term benefits?
So many, actually. One big one is reduced inflammation in your body. When you constantly overeat, your digestive system has to work overtime, and that can lead to inflammation throughout your body.
So eating less could actually help with things like joint pain or other inflammatory conditions.
It could. And there's also less oxidative stress when you eat a bit less. Oxidative stress is like rust forming on your cells over time, and eating less can actually help slow that process down.
Wow, I never thought about it that way. So it's not just about weight management.
No, it's really a much more holistic approach to health and well-being. And of course, it does help with weight management in a gentle and sustainable way without the need for those restrictive diets that often backfire.
Right. Diets are so hard to stick to.
They really are. And they often don't address the underlying issue, which is this disconnect from our body's natural signals.
Yeah, it's about finding a way to eat that feels good for both your body and your mind. I was reading about a woman named Helen. She grew up, with that whole clean your plate mentality.
Oh, yeah. I think we all know a Helen.
Yeah. And she never wanted to waste food, always ate everything she was served. But as she got older, she started noticing that after meals, she often felt really sluggish and her digestion was just off.
I can relate to that.
Yeah, it was affecting her sleep too. She just wasn't feeling her best.
And what changed for her?
Well, she heard about harahachibu and decided to try it out.
Okay, interesting. So instead of focusing on finishing everything, she just really started paying attention to how she felt as she was eating.
Exactly. And she'd ask herself, am I actually still hungry or am I just eating because the food is there?
That's a really powerful question to ask.
Right. And it's amazing how just by doing that, just becoming more mindful, she started to notice those subtle signals of fullness.
So she started naturally eating less without even really trying.
Exactly. And she said she had so much more energy throughout the day. Her sleep improved. She wasn't as bloated and uncomfortable after meals. It was amazing how much of a difference that one small shift made for her.
That's encouraging.
It really is. So for our listeners who are thinking, okay, this sounds great, but how do I actually do it? How do I know when I've reached that 80% full mark? What would you tell them?
Well, first of all, it takes practice. It's not like you're going to be perfect at it right away.
Yeah.
But one of the best things you can do is just slow down, really savor your food, enjoy the flavors, and give your body a chance to catch up. It takes about 20 minutes for your brain to register that you're actually full.
Which one?
Yeah. So if you're scarfing down your food in 5 minutes, probably going to end up overeating.
Makes sense. What else can people do?
Another helpful tip is to put your fork down between bites. Take a few breaths. It sounds so simple, but it helps you to slow down and really pay attention to your body.
I like that.
You can also try pausing when you feel like you can eat a little bit more, but you're not really hungry anymore. Just check in with yourself and see how you feel.
Yeah, that's a good one. What about portion sizes? Are there any tricks there?
Oh yeah, using smaller plates can be really helpful. You're still filling your plate, which can be psychologically satisfying, but you're actually eating less.
It's kind of tricking your brain a little bit.
Yeah, in a good way. You're not feeling deprived. You're just naturally consuming less food.
I love it. Okay, so we've talked about how much we eat. Now let's talk about what we eat. One of the things that really stood out in the Okinawan diet is the emphasis on plant-based proteins, especially soybeans.
Yeah, things like tofu, miso, natto, and edamame. They're not just side dishes in Okinawa. They're mainstays.
Right. And it's interesting that Dr. Hinohara was known for eating tofu pretty much every day. It wasn't just a once-in-a-while thing for him.
Yeah, it was a staple.
What makes soy so beneficial?
Well, for one thing, it's complete protein. It provides all 9 essential amino acids our bodies need.
So you don't necessarily need meat to get all your protein?
Exactly. Soy is also packed with isoflavones, which have some amazing health benefits.
What are isoflavones exactly?
They're naturally occurring plant compounds that have been shown to have anti-inflammatory effects. They can help protect your heart and blood vessels too.
Oh, wow. So they're good for your cardiovascular system as well.
Absolutely.
That's impressive. Anything else?
Oh yeah. Soy also has prebiotic fiber, which is basically food for the good bacteria in your gut. That's crucial for healthy digestion.
We're learning more and more about the importance of gut health.
It's huge. And studies have shown that people who regularly eat soy tend to have lower LDL cholesterol, which is that bad cholesterol you want to keep in check. They also have better bone density, which is super important as we get older. And some studies suggest that soy may even help to reduce the risk of cognitive decline.
It sounds like soy is kind of a wonder food.
Well, it's definitely a nutrient powerhouse and an important part of a healthy diet, especially as we age.
We heard from a listener named Frank who decided to swap out some of the red meat in his diet for tofu a couple of times a week.
Good for him.
And he was amazed by the results. He said his blood pressure actually went down and some of his joint pain eased up.
It's remarkable how our bodies respond to these dietary changes.
Yeah, it's like you're giving your body the nutrients it needs to thrive.
That's a great way to put it.
So for those listening who want to incorporate more plant-based proteins like soy into their diet, what are some good ways to start?
Start small. You don't have to overhaul your entire diet overnight. Just try adding lentils to soups and stews, experiment with tofu and stir fries, or try some edamame as a snack. There are so many delicious ways to enjoy these foods.
I love a good lentil soup, and edamame is so easy to snack on. Okay, so moving on to another fascinating aspect of the traditional Japanese diet, and this one might be a bit more unfamiliar to some of our listeners, fermented foods.
Ah, yes, things like miso soup, natto, pickled vegetables. These are food that have been part of Japanese culture for centuries. And it's no coincidence that these cultures are also known for their longevity.
Right. And I remember you mentioned earlier that Dr. Hinohara started every day with a bowl of miso soup, so clearly he believed in the power of these foods.
Absolutely. And we now know that fermented foods are teeming with probiotics. And those probiotics are crucial for maintaining a healthy gut.
There's so much buzz about gut health these days.
There is. It's one of the most exciting areas of research in health and wellness right now.
Can you break it down for us? Why is gut health so important?
Sure. So basically, your gut is home to trillions of bacteria, both good and bad.
Trillions.
Trillions. And these bacteria play a huge role in your overall health, everything from digestion to immunity to even your mental health.
Wow, it's amazing to think that something we can't even see can have such a profound impact on how we feel.
I know, it's pretty mind-blowing. And the key is to have a balance of good bacteria in your gut. That's where probiotics come in.
Yeah.
They help to repopulate your gut with those beneficial bacteria, and that can lead to better digestion, less bloating, a stronger immune system.
So are you saying that eating fermented foods is a good way to get probiotics?
Absolutely. It's one of the best ways, actually.
So instead of taking probiotic pills, which a lot of people do, I should be eating more sauerkraut and kimchi.
Exactly. It's not that supplements are bad, but whole fermented foods are better.
Why is that?
They offer a wider variety of probiotics, and they also contain other beneficial compounds that work synergistically with the probiotics. It's like a team effort for your gut health.
I like that analogy. We got an email from a woman named Claire who had been struggling with really bad bloating and digestive issues for years. And she tried all sorts of things, different medications, elimination diets, but nothing seemed to help.
I bet she was getting pretty frustrated.
Yeah, she was. And then she heard about the benefits of miso soup and decided to give it a try.
Okay.
And guess what?
What?
She said her bloating went down significantly and her digestion just felt so much better.
Wow. That's incredible.
And she said all she did was start incorporating a cup of miso soup into her daily routine.
It really goes to show you the power of these traditional foods.
Absolutely. So for our listeners who are thinking, okay, I want to try this, but where do I even begin? What would you suggest? What's a simple way to incorporate fermented foods into your daily routine?
Well, like Claire, miso soup is a great place to start. It's easy to make. You can just add a spoonful of miso paste to hot water, and you've got a delicious and nourishing broth.
Easy peasy.
And you can look for other fermented foods at the grocery store.
Oh.
Sauerkraut, kimchi, kefir, yogurt. There's a whole world of fermented goodness out there.
Yeah, there's a lot to explore. Okay, let's move on to another important macronutrient, carbohydrates. Now, they tend to get a bad rap, especially with all the low-carb diets out there. But our research highlights the importance of choosing quality carbohydrates, specifically Japanese purple sweet potatoes.
Interesting. And apparently, Dr. Hinohara himself actually preferred them over rice.
He did. So again, it's not about eliminating carbs completely. It's about making smart choices.
Exactly. And the Japanese purple sweet potatoes are a really good choice. They are a nutritional powerhouse, packed with antioxidants, fiber, potassium, vitamin C.
Okay, so not all carbs are created equal.
Not at all. You want to focus on those complex carbohydrates, those nutrient-rich carbs that provide sustained energy and a whole host of health benefits.
And what about that purple color?
That's a sign of anthocyanins. They're powerful antioxidants that give the sweet potato that vibrant hue.
And antioxidants are good for us because
They protect our cells from damage, they help to fight inflammation, and they even play a role in maintaining healthy blood vessel function.
I heard that anthocyanins might even have brain-boosting benefits.
There's some research that suggests they might be helpful in slowing down cognitive decline, which is really exciting.
That is exciting. We heard from a listener named Paul who had been avoiding carbohydrates altogether because he was worried about his blood sugar levels and he was constantly tired.
Oh, see.
He decided to experiment with adding steamed sweet potatoes to his diet. He was a little hesitant at first because he thought all carbs were bad.
The common misconception.
It is, but he was amazed by how much his energy levels improved, and his blood sugar readings actually became more stable.
Interesting. So cutting out carbs entirely wasn't the answer for him. It was about finding those good quality carbs that actually supported his health goals.
That's the takeaway. So how can our listeners incorporate more sweet potatoes into their diet?
Keep it simple. Steaming or baking them is a great way to preserve their nutrients. You can enjoy them as a side dish, mash them up, add them to salads, whatever you like.
Yummy.
And don't be afraid to get creative. There are so many delicious ways to prepare sweet potatoes.
Now, shifting gears a bit, it's clear from Dr. Hinohara's life and from what we know about the Okinawan lifestyle that longevity isn't just about diet, it's about living a full and joyful life.
Absolutely. Dr. Hinohara was incredibly active well into his late 90s and even 100s. He continued to work, he gave lectures, he volunteered. He didn't let age slow him down.
And it sounds like he really enjoyed what he was doing.
He did. And that joy, that passion for life, that's a key ingredient to longevity.
Absolutely. And we've talked a lot about food today, but it's clear that there's more to it than that. It's about finding activities that bring you joy, moving your body, and just appreciating the simple things in life.
Yeah, those little moments of joy, those things that light you up inside, those are so important.
Yeah, like spending time in nature, connecting with loved ones, pursuing hobbies you're passionate about.
Exactly. It's about cultivating a positive mindset, finding ways to reduce stress, and to appreciate the beauty in everyday life.
I think that's a great message for all of us to hear.
I agree. It's a reminder to prioritize our well-being and to seek out those things that nourish our souls.
We got an email from a woman named Marie who said that she used to focus so much on restrictive diets and counting calories, and she was just miserable.
Oh no, that's no way to live.
Exactly. And it wasn't sustainable. She would always end up falling off the wagon and then feeling guilty about it.
I've been there.
Yeah. So she decided to try a different approach. She started incorporating more gentle movement into her day, taking walks in nature, doing some yoga, and she made time for things that she really enjoyed, like gardening and reading.
It sounds like she was really taking care of herself on a deeper level.
She was. And she said it was like a weight had been lifted off her shoulders. She felt so much happier and more at peace. And she actually ended up losing weight without even trying because she was just naturally making healthier choices and moving her body more.
That's so inspiring. It's a reminder that when we take care of our mental and emotional well-being, everything else falls into place.
I love that. It's a reminder that health is not just about the number on the scale or what you eat, it's about how you feel on the inside.
I completely agree.
So to wrap things up, it seems that the wisdom from Dr. Hinohara and from the Okinawan way of life really boils down to some pretty simple but incredibly powerful habits. It's about eating mindfully, prioritizing plant-based foods, taking care of your gut health, incorporating those good carbs, and really embracing a joyful, active lifestyle.
And the beauty of it is that you don't have to do everything perfectly. You don't have to make radical changes overnight. Just start with one small step, something that feels doable for you, and build from there.
I think that's really important. It's about finding what works for you and what you can sustain over time.
Exactly. It's a journey, not a destination.
I love that.
And it's never too late to start.
Well said.
It's about making those conscious choices each day that support your long-term health and happiness.
I think that's a great place to end our deep dive.
I agree.
If you enjoyed this conversation and found it helpful, please give this video a thumbs up and be sure to share it with your friends and family who might also benefit from this information.
And don't forget to subscribe to the Senior Care Insights channel so you don't miss out on future episodes. We have so much more to share with you on the topics of healthy aging and living your best life in your later years.
And be sure to leave a comment below telling us what resonated with you the most from this episode. We love hearing from you.
We do.
Thanks for joining us.
Thanks, everyone.
And we'll see you next time.